The poor are the most utilized bunch when it comes to legitimizing welfarism and statism. We need this program for the poor, therefore we need this amount of taxation. You can find just about every single politician mentioning the poor with their leading political points. Never mind the simple fact that just because you oppose the government doesn't mean that you hate the poor, and never mind the fact that government is not synonymous to charity. But when you start to dive into this political talking point, it's so ridiculously stupid that it's hard to believe that people have gone this long in making it. By suggesting that you have the moral high ground and you inherit it by advocating government programs, which is coercion via taxation, you are implying two things. Number one, every person that is poor does not deserve to be there at all. They are only there because of external events that were completely out of their hands. There's nothing they've done, no self-inflicted wounds, and they've done every single thing that they can to get out of poverty. The second thing you are implying is that there are no examples of people that were once poor that are no longer so because of their own doing, or at the very least their experience becomes negated by those that were unable to do so. Anybody that has half a brain knows that neither one of these are true. For example, I myself grew up in this sort of struggle, growing up in a single-parent household with a mother that worked multiple jobs to provide. She was way too stubborn for welfare, and here I am. On the other hand, I know people that grew up in similar situations that did the same, but others that are still broke or poor. I know people that once had money that gambled it away. I know people that were middle or middle upper class that are now in lower classes due to their own efforts. I also know many people that are able-bodied but would much rather smoke weed and hit licks or do the bare minimum to get by. When you consider these harsh realities, the poor becomes such a terrible, nonsensical argument for government programs. In fact, the welfare state actually incentivizes failure, because they're basically saying that so as long as you are below this certain line in terms of income, or you have this amount of kids and you meet this certain criteria, no matter why you're in that situation, you get this money, you get this government assistance. But the minute you are above that line, they take that all away from you. It's like this sort of one-size-fits-all kind of thing. And this is why charity, voluntarism, and family is far more efficient. Certain people respond certain ways to certain methods. Some people may need a little bit of extra money, just a little bit of cash to get back on their feet, and they'll be good, fine, and dandy. You got other people, on the other hand, that may just need a kick in the behind. They don't need the money at all. They just need that sort of motivation. Either way, those and competing firms are far better, and the means in which they are done is not under this threat of a government gun to fund the most corrupt and evil and criminal organization known to man, the government. So when you say things like some people can't afford yada yada yada, you are correct, but some people can. You can say things like not everybody can get out of that situation. Well, some people have. Regardless, these are terrible arguments, and they certainly don't justify the use of the state. And that applies to everything, not just welfare. Government does not have the incentive to, nor can they eliminate poverty. America's federal government, for example, spends like 50% of their budget on these entitlement programs. Yes, way more than what they spend on military, which is also inefficient, but they're still poor people. Now, don't get it twisted. There are numerous laws that actually hurt poor people, like the war on drugs, and there are unfortunate events. But there are also other laws that are passed in the name of helping the poor, like minimum wage and government regulations, that have opposite consequences because it prevents them from being able to enter the market. It should also go without saying that things like corporate welfare should be eliminated as well. Look, you have the right to voluntarily pool resources. You have the right to help those that you want. You just can't force everybody else to join in with you. Stop treating the poor like they're some sort of robots and make better arguments.